well, you may do nothing. And if you do nothing with that book of business, it's you're just going to have to go find it again next year and the year after that and the year after that. And it's almost like chasing your tail. So when we look at it, we're going to have to kind of examine this. And when we boil down what we're going to get at today, and this is an open dialogue, so I'm asking everyone to type in questions as they come up, as we start talking about these things in detail. We want to explore them as a team and as a group. And as we're exploring these different things that are going on, whether it's the number of calls or where you're getting your business from or your sales process, then we can begin to identify individually what we need to work on. Is it a matter of making more phone calls? Is it about putting yourself out there and giving yourself more opportunity? Is it you adhering to your schedule? And then lastly, of course, it's going to be cross-selling and management of that book of business. Now, the cross-selling and management of the book of business, that's to me very important. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to really address that separately, okay? So when we look at cross-selling a book of business, we really want to look at when you're going to do that, how you're going to do that, and what is the goal. And we all may have different goals, but we have to manage that book, and we must do that accordingly. So let me ask everybody on this call today, most everybody outside of maybe one or two of you have been with us for over a year. And that being said, are you using appropriate tracking methods that I've provided to you, or do you have your book of business in one location that you can access so that way you can see where your book of business is? And I mean this. This is located in the team folder in Google Drive. So if we're looking in the team folder, we can come down to our tracking and calculation form. This form is the one that you should be using, or something similar like this. So the question still stands. Who on this call is using a document like this that is accurate and correct? Be honest. Let's be honest with ourselves. This is for you, this guy. This is not, this is only for us to write more business, to facilitate more business. Excellent. Not up to date. Okay. Yes, in one location. Perfect. So this is going to help you a great deal in staying organized as you are mapping out and managing your day, as you're mapping and managing where you want to be and what you're going to be doing. This is going to be a whole cross section of that, because as we begin to cross-sell our book of business, if you're using these different tools that are here, we've got a bunch of things that we have to do with the management of this book. So in the management of the book, we have to first, let's look and talk about Medicare. Let's break it down into Medicare and to ACA, because when we're managing our book of business, there are significant differences between these two. Well, those of you that have a tracking form, a calculation form, one of the things that we talk about when we're talking about scheduling is going to be doing mid-year check-ins and birthday cards. So two really good things for you to do with your Medicare book of business are both a maybe one or two check-ins, and that you know better on your book than I do, and birthday cards for everyone. So on a monthly basis, you would want to come into your tracking sheet, see everyone that has a birth date in this section here, or whatever sheet that you're doing, and making sure that they're all getting a birthday card. Now, I know Irene is saying I'm already doing birthday cards. That's fantastic. But what are you doing to follow up with those birthday cards? Just because you are sending them a birthday card, if there is no goal, then it's a waste of time. The goal should be for you to engage in conversation, for you to ask for referrals, because not only should you send them that birthday card, you're going to want to do a birthday call. It's not a lot of time for you to call and wish them a happy B-Day. Okay, how much time is it really going to take for you to do that? I mean, outside of someone on this call who has 400 or 500 Medicare applications, when you look at it on a month-to-month basis, it's not a lot of activity. And that personal call is going to go a long way. Hey, how you doing? This is David Silbert. Just wanted to give you a call and thank you for being one of my clients. Make sure that everything is okay. And by the way, happy birthday. Know that your birthday is coming up this month. If you have any good plans or anything like that, talk to them, engage with them. Now that we're a little bit older, maybe you want to talk to them about life insurance. Maybe you want to talk to them about referrals. And also, we want to prepare and plan for our mid-year check-in. Now, a mid-year check-in is probably the most important thing that you're going to do with your Medicare beneficiaries. It is a follow-up call. It is a follow-up email. It is a letter. It is multiple pieces that you could be utilizing in these Medicare enrollments to check in, make sure everything is okay, make sure that they understand what's going to happen. A few key things that they have to understand is who you are. Because if they don't know that Joseph Norfleet is their agent, then what you need to make sure is that they know that you are the agent. You also want to inform them about ANOC that's going to be coming up. And as they get this mid-year check-in, this is a perfect time for you to start this. We're about 5 months into the program for your Medicare beneficiaries. You should plan for June or July, as long as you're not on a cruise, Miss Callan, to make sure that you are calling all of these people, checking in on them, making sure that they're not having any issues, do some customer service, and also make sure that they understand that in September and October they are going to get an annual notice of change. I want you to be aware that there are always changes every year, and these are some of the things that you might expect. But know that I am your agent. Know that I am here for you. In the infamous words of Blue Cross, I am here for you. So as you go through that, and they know that you should then schedule some time. Yes, believe it or not, schedule some time. When? In early October, 10/1 through 10/15. Now I know many of you are scratching your head and saying, oh, well, I can't do anything between 10/1 and 10/15. Absolutely you can. Plans will be released on 10/1. You are not actively allowed to market new business, but you can absolutely identify and work with your current client base to schedule some time and do their enrollment early. I can't talk to somebody who doesn't know about the Blue Cross plans. We're not going to be starting outsourced marketing efforts at that time, but why not fill up those first 2 weeks of all of your current members to review and to make sure that they're in the right plan and take their application to renew their policy. But addressing these concerns now and using this in a path that is going to start the process now over the summer is going to help you a great deal, because when you get to October, you're going to have a lot of things, but there's one thing that you're going to be very limited on, and that is time. Our enrollment window is not changing. Our enrollment window will be from October the 15th through December 7th for our Medicare beneficiaries. Their opportunity to change has to be done during that period. However, you must utilize these folks as your current members to schedule early enrollment if possible. Also, if you did a good job, what else could you do during this call? You can ask for referrals. You can also have a product that you are going to be selling or offering, whether that's long-term care, life insurance, final expense type of coverage through Carrie Levinson, or any number of things. But again, we want to have a goal. And what is our goal for this mid-year check-in? And that is going to save our business and add to it. And if we are going to have that goal, and we know that, I am expected to have $50,000 worth of renewals that are coming to me for this current book of business. I've been doing this for 2 or 3 years with A&B. On average, I've written between, let's say, 75 applications a year over 3 years. That's 225 applications on an average of $200 an application. That's $45,000. If you do nothing, then you're going to lose at least 20% of that business by accident, a minimum. So if you just sit back on your heels and do nothing, just forget about it. That money is going away. If you do a good job, you can probably retain anywhere between 85 and 90% of that business, therefore only losing a little bit of money. And you know when you get out of bed on January 1st, Happy New Year, kiss your wife, kiss your boyfriend, you've got $40,000 in the bank from what you did over the summer. So do it now. Start that process now in July. Birthday cards. Also, let's just go over that. A birthday card with a follow-up, just making sure you've got a couple of your business cards in there. There are other materials that you could put in there. Again, these are good, warm, and fuzzy feeling kind of check-ins. They're not confrontational. They're service-related. You might have to do a little work for your member. So be it. It happens. But that work will pay off to you in a huge amount. And when I say referrals, I say retaining the business. One of the things you might want to think about is what the estimated value of a client is for you. I know what it is for A and B. I know that we're not going to make any money till 18th month based on lead purchases and blah, 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 and all of that kind of stuff. I know what the inherent value of each customer is to us on average. But do you know yours? And that's going to play into how much money you invest to retain this client, how much time you invest to retain this client. There's a value. And if you look at it just sheer numbers, if it's $200 every year and that average Medicare beneficiary is going to be alive, let's say 8 years, you know that each one of those customers has an inherent value of approximately $1,600. Let's say you invest a little bit of time, and let's say you do a couple little mailings, this, that, and the other thing, a little service. So let's just say, depending on how much you value your time, let's say that's about $1,250. That means that each time you sell a Medicare policy, you know that it has that value. But that value is a retention over 8 years. Are you selling a Medicare policy for $200, or are you selling a Medicare policy for between $1,200 and $1,600? Well, I know me personally, I would be doing it and do it for the $1,600 number, not the $200. Bird in the hand, in the bush, however you want to look at it, here and now kind of feeling. But remember, the way that the Medicare commissions are designed, it is a long haul. It is something that you need to be doing. So again, the calculation form or some sort of tracking form is going to make your life a lot easier. If you don't have that, you're going to have a tough time. But now would be a good time over the summer to organize all of your customers. You can do exports from different areas. You can do an export from search accounts. We can talk about that, but you got to start to get organized. Well, after we have this set up on Medicare, we know what our goal is. We know that what we're doing. Well, that's beautiful. Now we have our ACA clients. And ACA clients need to get the same type of service, if not more, than your Medicare clients. Again, identifying this tracking form is going to make a big difference because you can come over here and you could sort by the plan. You can sort by the product. You can sort by all different kinds of things and filter to use this to your best of your ability. So your ACA clients, you should be using MailChimp. So all of our current members that are in the Affordable Care Act using some sort of email marketing tool like MailChimp to frequently, every 90 days, have a schedule that you are reaching out to these members, just checking in, how is everything, do you need anything? Those types of frequent touches are important. Also, making sure that as you're getting the billing issues, you are also using those billing issues as a point of contact, because if they have not paid, you're getting some sort of file or notification, and then you're reaching out to them. What you will identify in your sheet here is that most of the people who are having ACA issues have particular premium levels. And those levels are going to be less than about $50. So be aware that those less than $50 premiums are the ones that you're going to want to watch out for, because there's not as much of a buy-in. They don't have the inherent value to the insurance. Highly subsidized B or C variations is something that you want to keep your eye on. But for your ACA clients, birthday cards are very important. Why you wouldn't send them to them, beyond me. And also a mid-year check-in for these people. Most of us, the average agent with A and B, did about between 200 and 250 new sales. That was the average volume that you wrote. So that's 200 to 250 people that you would have to check in. That's 2 days of phoning. You could do 20 a day, and you'll get that done pretty quickly. Checking in. Is everything okay? How are you doing? I am your agent. Remember, we're going to have to renew your policy. When are we going to do that? We're going to do that in November. But I want you to make sure that you know I'm your agent. Think about what's going to happen this year with the Affordable Care Act. Any agent can write your business. I can call every one of your clients and I can say, hey, how you doing? This is Mark Carbellano. I was giving you a call from Florida Blue to renew your policy. Let's take care of that now. And if I do it, now I am the AOR. I will get paid and you will not. So setting up those renewals is going to be very important as well. Now, as of today, I don't want you to set up the renewal process. And the reason why I don't want you to set it up is because we do not know the comp. Until we know the comp, we need to manage our time accordingly. But it will be nice if you call them and you check in with them, let them know about the renewal, make sure they know that I'm your agent, Agent Scott Webb, Agent Jeff Robinson, and that when you need any questions or when you have anything that you need, you're going to call me. I'm going to take care of you. I'm your agent. But again, with the birthday cards, with the renewals, with the mid-year check-in, we have to have a goal. And that goal should be ancillary business. It should be life insurance. It could even be dental. And of course, it can be referrals. But you need to pick a goal and stick to it and hold yourself accountable. And please, nobody complain about my spelling. I'm just doing this on the whirl. So as we're looking at all of these, what's the common thread? You're not going to do anything unless you've got a goal. You're not going to do it unless you know what you're going to do and you are going to act on that goal. So now we know some of the things that we have to do. We need to cross-sell our book. We need to make sure that we're going to talk to these people. We're going to ask them for referrals, and then we're going to hold ourselves accountable for it. Well, then the $64,000 question is going to be, when are you going to do it? Now, my recommendation is you use a spreadsheet. My recommendation, you can get a piece of paper. This is why I wanted to do it together on the whiteboard. So when we do our next meeting like this, I really want everybody that's on this call that wants to participate to come in so we can do this together. Because on our first go-around on this, when we start doing Client Builder, there's going to be some bumps in the road. There's going to be some learning. But what we're going to learn from our peers is going to far surpass anything that you learn out of my big mouth. Okay? So we need to set a schedule. And when I say that, I mean it's as simple as I'm working Monday, Tuesday, whatever the days of the week is, right, that you are going to work. Now, let's just say you're not going to work Saturday, you're going to work Sunday, whatever it may be. This is how simple we're going to do it together. You can do this on a piece of paper. You can do this however you would like. But once you do it, here's the key. You got to hold yourself accountable. One of the things, the luxuries that we have in our business is if I want to come in at 11:30 in the afternoon, I could do that. You're not punching a clock. You might get a little riffing from me, but overall, you're not really having that level of accountability to the higher power except for yourself and maybe God. So what's your schedule going to be? When are you going to start? You know, the day starts at 8 a.m., right? I mean, that's when, even before that, but let's just say that it starts at 8 a.m. Are you going to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Are you going to work Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday? What's your schedule going to be? This is important for one thing and one thing only: your sanity, okay? You will go insane if you do not have a schedule that you're adhering to. If you're just waking up and deciding whether you want to go to work or not, you might as well just not even go. You don't have the motivation. But if you know that you're Monday, you're at the office at 8, you're on the phone by 8:30, you know what you've got to do to make it happen, it will make your life a lot easier and keep you sane. What it will also do is it's going to help your clients as well as A&B itself to have a little bit better understanding of where you are and what we should tell your clients. If you can imagine, I like to go to Cracker Barrel. I take my son there on a regular basis. He loves their pancakes. So if every time I go to Cracker Barrel, and it's open every Sunday, and we go for our breakfast every Sunday. But if I went one Sunday and it just happened not to be open, that could be a problem. I might be a little annoyed. If it happens 2 Sundays in a row, well, then I may say, well, geez, maybe I want to find a different breakfast place. 3 Sundays in a row, who knows? But if you are not consistent, is what I'm saying here, is if you don't have a schedule, and I know that Cracker Barrel is open on Sunday mornings, and that's where I can go for breakfast, you think about it, your clients need that same level of confidence. But if you come and go as you please, and some days you can call me on my cell phone, some days I'm in the office, no, set yourself office hours. Just want to let you know, Mrs. Jones, I'm in the office from 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. 5 days a week. If you'd like to reach me after 4 p.m., you're going to want to call my cell phone. You need to adhere to some sort of schedule for the sanity of yourself, as well as your clients, as well as retaining those members. I can't tell you how many people call our offices and say, I can't get a hold of my agent. I've called every number. He's not calling me back, or she's not calling me back. Unacceptable. But that's basic 101 stuff that we need to really get to. Because I guaranteed if I went down the list of everybody and I'm looking at everybody's names, I know that maybe one or two of you could actually rattle a schedule off that you actually adhere to. You may have a mythical schedule that you think you adhere to. We have some people that are like that. I'm there every day at 9 o'clock. I don't think so. So when we go back to the schedule, the reason that this is important is because you want to break your schedule down. And we're going to break this schedule down so that way you can get the most out of it. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's just break it down into some simple segments right now. So let's say, 8, let's say 12, let's say 3, and let's say 5. Let's just for, what and giggles. Now, the reason I'm just putting these numbers, and these numbers are different for everybody, right? But the reason that I'm putting these numbers in here is so that way you can understand that you need to work your day in a capacity that you black it out if you're not planning on working. If I'm not working on Tuesdays, let's just black out that date. Don't even put it on my calendar. I am not working on Tuesdays. Give yourself that credit. If you can afford it. I can't afford to take a day off. Maybe you can. Pick your days. And then block your days based on your activity. And what do I mean by that? Well, I mean that if I was going to block my days off here, right? So let's just say we're looking at Monday. I know on Monday from 8 to 12, all as I'm doing is checking my emails and customer service. I am not going to do anything else during that period of time. If I get a call for customer service between 12 and 3, I'm not handling it until my next customer service time, whatever that time may be based upon your schedule. So if I blocked it out, and this was my phoning, for example, so from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., Monday through Friday, I am phoning. Okay, these are my calls. That means I'm not answering an email from someone that unless it has to do with me making a sale. I'm not handling a customer service issue between 8 and 12 any day of the week. My customer calls me. I'm sorry, Mrs. Jones, unless you're on your way to the emergency room, I'll give you a call after 12 o'clock. I take care of my customer service between 12 and 1 or 12 and 2. So this whole block here could be my customer service time. Otherwise, what do you end up doing all day long? Customer service. I hear you guys doing it on the phone. And unless you're actually making a point to make money during that period, you're pissing away your time. You already sold the policy. Yes, you want to retain the policy. Yes, you want to do the right thing for your client. But if your money time is 8 to 12, or your money time is 3 to 6, or whatever your calling time is going to be, and it could be multiple calling times throughout the day. For example, you want to make calls between 8 and 10, you want to do customer service. And then between 10 and 12, you're going to do undisturbed phoning. And then you'll do some more customer service, go out to lunch, and then you know that you're going to come back at 4 and you're going to work until 6, and that's going to be undisturbed phoning. You need to hold yourself accountable to this schedule. Don't blow it off. And this is very important because I'm telling you now, you will go insane if you do not do this. So, once you have the schedule, once you've adhered to the schedule, Irene, I understand your clients know it's Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. My clients know they can call me anytime up to 11 p.m. Monday through Sunday. That's great. But now take it one step further. That's your schedule. That's beautiful. It could be on the bottom of every one of your emails. Making sure that your clients know my office schedule is, put it down, but call me anytime on my cell if you're, whatever it may be. But put it out there. But then between 8:30 and 5, what are you doing? Are you working from 8:30 to 5? And I'm not calling you out particularly, Irene, but what does your day look like between 8:30 and 5 p.m.? And then that's going to bring us to the meat and potatoes of Client Builder. Before I get to that, we've covered the background. Does anybody have any questions so far? Okay. So now we know what we're going to do. We've got the goals. We've got a schedule. We're going to hold ourselves accountable. Now we have to measure it. And Client Builder is going to be all about measuring these tools for success. Now, when we measure it, what we're going to do is we are going to measure these, and we are going to measure these opportunities, presentations, and sales based upon what you are doing. Now, remember, if you compartmentalize, well, that was a big word, these different areas of your day, then your success will be furthered because you will not be all over the map. You won't be taking care of this customer for 5 minutes and then get pulled to this customer or have to deal with this customer service issue. What you want to do is put these in their own little segments and deal with them exclusively. When you're phoning, if somebody comes up to you and says, hey, I want to go out to lunch, you want to do this? No, I can't, I'm phoning. If you have, your wife calls you and she wants to go to the store, I can't, I'm doing this. Your customer calls you, I've got a problem with this, can you help me right now? I'll actually be able to help you. I have appointments until 3 p.m. Let me call you after 3. Well, I need it now. I'm sorry, I'm going into an appointment. If you have an immediate number, call the number on the back of your card. Otherwise, you can wait a few hours. Not going to be the end of the world. We ain't delivering babies. Are you giving birth right now? Call your doctor. So segmenting that time. If you know that you're going to be doing field work, if you're going to be doing providers' offices, for example, like our call yesterday, maybe Wednesday afternoons are your provider offices, or you're going to give yourself Tuesday afternoons between 4 and 1 and 3 to do providers' offices and Wednesdays, and those are going to be your provider office times. But once we know, then we can work with it. And then we can start counting and hashtagging to see, not like hashtag, like there, but counting and actually visually seeing what your activity is and what's the result of that activity. Now, what you will do is you will each actually start working this on your own kind of terms, but we're going to use these same things that we're calling opportunities, presentations, and sales. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have notes on the bottom, or as you're accounting to this, to other areas of concern that you may have as far as why you didn't have as many contacts or things like that. And this is when we get together as a peer group and you have to sit down and say, okay, well, I made, 40 phone calls for the week. Then it won't just be me asking you, well, how can you do more in order to give yourself more opportunity? So the way that we're going to start things, and this is going to be a stepped process for Client Builder and everyone that wants to participate, is you're going to take a piece of paper and you're going to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and each day you're going to account for your opportunities. So let me zoom in here so that way we understand. And what you'll do is I will send this spreadsheet to everybody that's on this call. We can fill this spreadsheet out together in the morning right for Client Builder, because I'm going to ask you to have your numbers. And those numbers are going to be broken down into how many calls out and how many calls in did you make or did you take. And these are opportunities. Now, just because you made those calls doesn't mean you necessarily spoke with someone. But what you will do is you will put little hash marks throughout the day. And at the end of the day, or you can keep these all in one spiral book and fill this out at the end of the week before we have Client Builder. And if Tuesday's not the best day, everyone can let me know, but I'm thinking Tuesday's going to be the day. We would measure how many outbound calls did I make. That's through the dialer. That's through you hand dialing. How many opportunities did you give yourself? So let's just say that I made 75 outbound calls. Okay? An entire day of working. And I took 15 calls from the DR, from Voice Blast. Those were different opportunities that you did not actually do. You just took them. Those were handed to you. Okay? So then we have our total number of opportunities. Then what we're going to do for that day is we're going to count our presentations. And if you'll notice, these presentations are broken down into 3 products that I've selected. But if your goal adheres to a different product, then we can add a line in here, or we can change one of these names. Obviously, health, ancillary, and life are the big ones. Everything can pretty much fit into those. So if I'm calling my current customers, I'm still making an outbound call. The numbers don't matter where those numbers are coming from. If I'm doing follow-up calls, those are outbound calls for sales. If it is a customer service call, it's an outbound call. But then you have to see, did I look for a presentation? And maybe for you, it's not life insurance, maybe it's referrals. So maybe you're saying, did I ask for referrals on that call? And quite honestly, if this was you and you had 10 presentations, then you should have asked for 10 referrals. Or in your presentation for health, did you actually present your critical illness, your accident coverage? And did you also ask for the referral? So you may say, wow, every time you're hashing it as you're going through, hey, how you doing? This is Mark. I'm from Florida Blue. You were looking for some health insurance. I want to see if you got that taken care of. And if they say, yes, it's all taken care of, well, thank you very much. By the way, if I could offer you a bag of cash in the event that you have an accident, do you think cash would help you and your family get through a tough time? No, I don't. So a bag of cash is not good for you, Mr. Jones. No, we don't need any cash here, all full. Great, fantastic. May I ask you a question? No. Well, let me ask you anyway. What do you do for a living? I would love to be independently wealthy where I don't need any more cash. Do you sell drugs? What do you do? That's a pitch. So and then I could put my presentation down for that guy. This would be 11. It would be an additional one because I pitched him health. He was not interested. And I pitched him ancillary, and he was not interested. As I made my sales for the day, I would be marking those off. And then at the end of the week, it's going to be pretty eye-opening to see what your numbers look like. At the end of a month, it'll be even more eye-opening. And here's what we want to get from this. What is your magic number? How many phone calls do you have to make? How many contacts do you have to have with people so you can make a sale? Now, I know some of you, Andrew's a great example. He does other things as well. He's out and about. He's doing events. He's doing shows. Those are all contacts. Those are all opportunities. I'm not saying that it just has to be a call. If I go to the home show and I talk to 15 people, I've just skewed my numbers. I've given myself more opportunity. If you're doing more and more belly-to-belly work or you're doing providers' offices, we can alter this a little bit, but it's still an opportunity. And if I walked into 5 doctor's offices, those are 5 additional opportunities for those days. At the end of the week, at the end of a month, at the end of 3 months, what you're going to have is your magic number. And that magic number means that if you talk to 100 people, you are going to write 5 sales. Or if you talk to whatever your number is, it's different for everybody. For Michael Pedregosa, he may have to talk to 5 to get 1. To Carlos, we've been working on this program already. He's about 25 to 1, which is a phenomenal number. But what's your number? Anybody on this phone call have any even remote clue outside of Carlos what their number might be? Thank you, Tammy. No, we don't. And you wouldn't know what your number is unless you were doing this from some other life that you had before where someone else showed you how to calculate these things. But I think it's pretty eye-opening. Now, Keith, I know you're on the call, right? So, and I hope you don't mind, I'm gonna actually call you out on this one a little bit, but we already started this exercise about 2 weeks ago, me and Keith. So we sat down and we did our agent meeting one-on-one, and one of the things that we talked about was setting some goals, how much money do we need to make, and how we're going to get to that money dollar amount. But we needed to figure out this number because I don't know what Keith's number is. And I don't know if it's something that we need to, do we need to give Keith more opportunity? Is it more calls? Is it less customer service? So you did this for a week already or so, Keith. I don't know if you're still doing it. I mean, what were your findings from it? Nobody could hear you because you're not, oh, wait, maybe you put it in? No, the mute. But what was your overall taking? Because I can narrate. Oh, okay, cool. There's Keith. Good morning, Keith. And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but it's it was like we went through it a little bit, and I think we were both surprised at some of the results. So maybe you could share with everybody if you'd like to.
Sure. Well, the first week, I wasn't used to keeping track of it, and I realized that I hadn't been making as many calls as I had thought I was making. Matter of fact, it was about 50% of what I thought I was making. I tracked that I was making for the week something like 60 calls for the week. Then the following last week, I was tracking it again. I was making close to 50 to 60 calls a day throughout the whole week. My production went up tremendously. I mean, on Thursday, I was able to get 8, and then I was still writing them yesterday, finding SCPs and so on. So yesterday I wasn't able to keep track of anything because I was sending in, my application confirmations. I wrote a couple of apps yesterday, so I was pretty busy. So I wasn't able to really track it yesterday. But I think it's been great, and I think with this year, it's even going to be better. Personally, it's like you said, it's given me a chance to kind of focus.
And thank you. And that's really what it's all about, because if we if we can look at what we're doing, and it feels different. It always feels different than it really is, I'm sick. Anyway, what you feel or what your perception of the situation is, and how many calls and how many people you're talking to and how many presentations you're making, it may feel a lot different than it actually is in reality. And I think that that's part of what this exercise kind of will open our eyes to. And then what it allows me to do with you guys is say, okay, Joe, you've made 400 presentations and you've closed 1 sale. Or Mr. Robinson, you've closed, 20 sales off of 30 conversations. Well, then we know that, Jeff, your pitch is beautiful. You're good. Keep on doing what you're doing. But what we can also identify is if you're doing the numbers, Maybe we need to work on the presentation. Maybe it's product knowledge. But this will be a big eye-opener to what it actually is and identifying it. And then the next part comes is when we talk about goals. So if, Keith wants to know that he wants to make $4,000 a month, I know how much money he's going to make based on these products that he's selling. Well, once we know what the magic number is, and he's not doing, for example, let's say life is what he wants to do, or any of us. I want to sell more life insurance. So great, I need to pitch more life insurance if I'm going to sell more life insurance. So if I have life insurance on this and I go through my Monday and I only made one pitch on life insurance and I didn't sell anything, and then Tuesday I only did 2 pitches on life insurance, I'm not giving myself a fighting chance. So I can't even work on your presentation. But if we see that that you've pitched it 10 times and you haven't closed anything, or you've pitched it 25 times and you haven't closed anything, then we know maybe it's the product selection, or maybe it's your presentation as well. But if we take it one step further and we know for every 10 pitches, he closes 1 sale, and that 1 sale has an average policy premium of $30, well, guess what I can do now? I know that I can get Keith to his 4,000 number just with that formula right here. So if his formula, and I know that hopefully everybody's getting this, but if I know his formula was 90 opportunities, I pitched 10 life insurance policies to sell 1 plan. Well, now I have some numbers to work on. And if this was something that we did historically over the course of a week or a month, 2 months, a year, that number is going to be very specific. And I know if I give 90 opportunities, or Keith goes out there and finds 90 opportunities, he knows he's going to sell 1 policy just by default. And then as his pitch gets better, maybe this becomes 2 or 3. But at that point, I can then take his numbers, take what the average commissionable premium is for that policy, look at what the commission level is, and say, great, we need to have over the course of a month 500 opportunities in order for you to hit your number. It's a math equation. So it's very important that we do this together. And here's the other thing I want to be really straightforward with. If you only made 10 phone calls for the day, don't lie about it. Because the only person you're hurting is yourself. Yeah, you may get a little riffing. Everyone will be very nice. But if you went through your day and you made 10 calls here and you made 5 calls here and you made 10 calls here, you made 100 here trying to make up for it, you made another 100 here trying to make up for it, and then you took this day, Saturday, off. That's okay, but be honest. Because if you say, oh, damn it, I'm going to have, everybody's going to say something, I only made 10 calls, it's okay. But if you're not honest with yourself and you're not honest about what you're giving to yourself, we can't as a group manage it. I can't help you. I can't make sure that we're seeing what those opportunities are going to be, which is going to equate to how many presentations, which is going to equate to number of sales, which is income. Now, this becomes really interesting over the summer because we've got time to do this. But guess what? After the summer and you don't have time to do this, that's even better. You already know what your number is. You could come into open enrollment and say, all I got to do, if I make 400 phone calls, I get 400 opportunities. And those of you that have been with us know how the opportunities flow during open enrollment. You're going to have such a better idea of what you're actually going to make. Additionally, the close rate over the summer is going to be a lot harder and a lot smaller than it is going to be during open enrollment. But as we look at a goal, do you need to make another $50,000 over the summer? Do you want to make another $25,000? You got to make $5,000 a month for the next 5 months till open enrollment. How are you going to do it without these numbers and without this gauge and without this commitment to cross-selling and managing your book? Without this commitment to adhering to a schedule and holding yourself accountable, not going to do it. So, any questions? All right, so this is what we're going to do since we have no questions. I'm going to send everybody this document. I would say don't use the spreadsheet. Get yourself a spiral notebook. The day starts. When the day starts, put the day and the date on the top of it. Put calls in, calls out, and just start hashing them. Just start putting, little hash marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, slash it with a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, slash it with the fifth one. Count the number of calls you're making out. Count the number of DR calls that you're taking. And that's everything from somebody who tells you they're not interested to somebody that you do get a presentation to. Count the honest number of presentations that you're making. And that presentation is, hey, how you doing today? My name is Mark. I'm Mark from Market of Blue. I'm Mark from Florida Blue, and going through it. Not interested. That's a presentation. Mark it down. By the way, since you're not interested, we do have cash cancer products, blah, 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 blah. Go through your presentation on that. If not, same phone call. You can have one inbound phone call, and you could pitch each one of these products. It's no problem. And you could also sell none of them. That's a problem, but it does happen. So know that each call could look like this. One phone call, you got one opportunity, but you did 3 presentations off that one opportunity. That's fantastic. On the dialer, every time you get a call in on the dialer, you're getting it. It's an answering machine. It's a call you took. Did you make a presentation? Mark the presentation down. If your presentation number is huge and your sale number is small, then we need to work on the presentation. So hash it out in a book. I would use a spiral book, like I said, marking these different areas that are important, and then we'll total it up together as a group. So what I will do is I will plan on Tuesday doing this again. And I would ask that everybody who is in driving distance be here in the Tampa office. There's 12 people on the call. 2 people of the 12 live in Orlando. You guys can dial in. I'll set up the camera, and that way you can watch along. But everybody else should be in here. If we all participate, I might even bring some donuts. So that way you can have donuts for 2 days. Just what we need. Roll us around. Okay. Any questions? Any comments? All right. So this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to make it happen. This is going to help us attain our goals. Please keep in mind, everyone, from the beginning of our call, if you're not using our tracking template that I've created, you should. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. There's a lot of information on this that helps you with your commissions. It also helps you with understanding if people need information for citizenship or documentation on income, as well as notes and if you got paid or not. So if you're not using this and you're going to start organizing your paperwork, this would be a good thing to organize it with. It works. All right. So I will send a follow-up email recapping some of the stuff that we talked about, but if nobody else has any additional questions, I want to thank everybody for their time. Really looking forward to doing Client Builder with you guys. I think you're going to see great success from this and a really good understanding of everything. Thank you, Keith, for participating. If no one else has any other questions, enjoy. Have a great day, and talk to you another time. Same bat time, same bat station. Thank you.